So this year's State of the Nation address came at an estimated cost of about 4 million rand, which is much more than the 100,000 rand, I beg your pardon, that was spent last year. Since her appointment as Public Works and Infrastructure Minister, Patricia de Lille has promised to reduce government spending on state functions. For more on her reaction to yesterday's speech, the Minister joins us now via our telephone line. Minister de Lille, thanks as always for making time to speak to us. Really do appreciate your time on this Friday morning. I want to perhaps hone in on one of the, call it, resolutions made by the President, for lack of a better term, yesterday. It has to do with the Welisizwe Rural Bridges Program. The undertaking given by the President yesterday is that this project will be used to build more bridges than it did in the past. As a start, help us place the bridges problem in our country and where you fit in as the Minister.
So we're scaling up the project. We have received some funding from National Treasury to do that. And we aim to at least do 95 bridges this year in the Eastern Cape, in KZN, Limpopo, and also the Free State. So the injection from National Treasury is very welcome. We are also trying to look for funding from the private sector so that we can even scale up the project more.
Is that something that you're confident you'll be able to pull off?
Yes, most definitely, in partnership with the SANDF, who has been assisting us to build the bridges, their engineers. We, from Public Works, have contributed young professionals, young interns in the build environment to assist. And we're also paying the local community as part of the EPWP program to help the SANDF to build the bridges. And then a good partnership also with the provinces.
Yeah, I think you were in KZN last year around, it must have been about May or so, where I think
Yes.
you were launching a leg of this particular project. And during that launch, you spoke about how you were moved sometimes by images of young people crossing bridges. You could see the fear in their faces as they were making their way to school.
Yes.
Over dangerous rivers. I mean, what's your response to individuals who say that it's actually an indictment in our country that so far into our democracy, there's still so much time spent on building what really should have been infrastructure that had been made available years ago?
Yes, I definitely agree with you, but as much as we acknowledge the problem, we have to do something. I mean, just recently we've seen the video going viral on people trying to carry a coffin over the flooded Nzimbubu River. Immediately the next day, the President sent us to that area, and we are now working with the community that we can find a solution there. But we have to scale up the program. And, you know, the provincial governments are very good partners. They're also giving some funding. So you'll definitely see a difference in this financial year coming that we are going to upscale those bridges.
Yeah. Minister, whilst I have you on the line, I mean, it's difficult to speak about yesterday's State of the Nation address without speaking about the Parliament fire earlier this year. As we speak, there still hasn't been any kind of public proclamation about the extent of the damage to the old and new assembly. Is there any information you're able to share with us?
Yes, so we did do a visual inspection with the internal engineering team from the Department of Public Works. Through that, they have identified some structural damage. We then decided it's best to get an independent team of engineers, quantity surveyors, civil engineers from outside that can do an independent investigation. Now, and an assessment. The independent team has now been appointed. They have been briefed. They are on site as we speak. And they will be able to tell us the extent of the damage, the cost of the damage, and how long it will take to repair the damaged buildings. So it's all work in progress. Is
there a estimated timeline about when you're hoping to at least hear back from this independent team?
Well, the timeline will be determined. We have asked the professional team to report back to us within 2 weeks with their preliminary findings and assessment that they have done, so that we can start the planning of rebuilding. So in 2 weeks' time, once they have submitted their report of how deep the structural damages is, especially within the National Assembly, in 2 weeks we'll be able to make an announcement to say this is the extent, this is the cost, and how long it will take to repair.
Yeah. The moment, of course, has brought into sharp focus concerns about government buildings being ready to respond to disasters like fires. How high up your agenda or priorities is getting that right as we usher in the rest of the year?
Well, you know, there's an overlap of, yes, public works being the custodian of government buildings, but then you have the various departments, what we call the user departments, using the buildings, and that is where we need to up our integration to work with the people that occupy the building, any government department, parliament. We have to up our game to make sure that, especially on the maintenance side, on the repair side, on the safety drills, on checking regularly the sprinkling system and all of that, that needs to be done more often than what is being done now. So we are quite aware, because we also have to put preventative measures in place, because we cannot afford to have national key point areas go up in flames. And we also hope that the new Critical Infrastructure Act that has been signed by the President more than a year ago, that can be implemented, because there are very, very good solutions and mechanisms in that piece of legislation that can help with the prevention and detection of fires.
Public Works and Infrastructure Minister Patricia de Lille, thank you so much for your time. Really do appreciate it.